ਸੈਲਫ ਡਿਫੈਂਸ ਇੱਕ ਮੁੱਦਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਪਿਛਲੇ ਦਿਨਾਂ 'ਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਾਫੀ ਇਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ। ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨ ਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਵੱਡਾ ਸੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਇਹ ਮਹਿਸੂਸ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਸੈਲਫ ਡਿਫੈਂਸ ਲਾਜ਼ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਫੇਅਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ ਅਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਚੇਂਜ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਹੈ ਜਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਬਾਰੇ ਸ਼ਿਕਵੇ ਸ਼ਿਕਾਇਤਾਂ ਅਕਸਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਨੇ। ਸੋ ਇਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਇੱਕ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਵੇਟ ਮੈਂਬਰਸ ਬਿੱਲ ਕੰਜ਼ਰਵੇਟਿਵ MP ਨੇ ਸੈਂਡਰਾ ਕਬੈਨਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇੰਟਰੋਡਿਊਸ ਕੀਤਾ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਕ੍ਰਿਮੀਨਲ ਕੋਡ ਦੇ ਸੈਕਸ਼ਨ 34 'ਚ ਕੋਈ ਚੇਂਜ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾ ਸਕੇ। ਜਦੋਂ ਕੋਈ ਇੰਟਰੂਡਰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਘਰ 'ਚ ਦਾਖਲ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੈਲਫ ਡਿਫੈਂਸ 'ਚ ਕਾਰਵਾਈ ਕਰ ਸਕੋ ਅਤੇ ਇਹਦੇ ਬਦਲੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਖੁਦ ਸਜ਼ਾ ਦਾ ਸਾਹਮਣਾ ਨਾ ਕਰਨਾ ਪਏ। ਸੋ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਇਸ਼ੂ ਹੈ। ਇਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੰਜ਼ਰਵੇਟਿਵ MP ਨੇ ਨਿਊ ਮਾਰਕੀਟ ਪਲੇਸ ਅਰੋਰਾ ਤੋਂ ਸੈਂਡਰਾ ਕੋਬੈਨਾ ਉਹ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਫੋਨ ਲਾਈਨ 'ਤੇ ਜੁਆਇਨ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। ਸੈਂਡਰਾ, good morning and thanks for joining.
Good morning. How are you?
Great. Sandra, for our listeners who haven't read the bill, what exactly would your proposal change in Section 34 of the Criminal Code?
Yeah, so the bill essentially creates a presumption that when someone knowingly and unlawfully enters your home, the force that you thought necessary to defend yourself and your family is presumed to be reasonable unless, of course, the evidence shows otherwise. So basically what that means is that the onus to prove that you acted unreasonably is now shifted from the homeowner to the Crown, and it essentially would support Canadians in defending themselves, or clarify that it is okay to defend yourself and your family, and that you won't be treated like a criminal for doing so, because of course what you see right now is you have some violent home invasions. Canadians and the homeowners have to make a split-second decision and defend themselves and their families, but then they're taken away by police, and then they're forced into these costly legal battles only to prove that they acted in self-defense, and that's not right. So, your home should be your safe place and not the place where the law turns against you for protecting the people you love. And so with this bill, we aim to clarify these standards around self-defense.
Mm-hmm. You said homeowners are forced through long and costly trials. What evidence or cases led you to conclude the law need to change?
Well, some of the there's a number of cases, but one of the cases that we talked about for a while is a case out of Collingwood, Ontario, where you had a resident, Cameron Garner, who was just in his living room watching a TV, and you have 3 intruders come into his home and to steal, and they beat him, they beat his girlfriend, zip-tied him, his dog was zip-tied as well, his girlfriend. It was all terrifying. He ends up trying to defend himself, ends up killing 2 of the intruders. The third one runs away. By the time that the police comes, they look, of course, at evidence, they look at the situation, and they take him into custody. And he's initially charged with murder, then it's downgraded to manslaughter, but eventually the charges are dropped, right? And so, but of course, you have a homeowner who was acting in self-defense for himself, for his family. His daughter was sleeping next door, 8 years old. His son, from time to time, lived in the home as well, and that's not right. So what we're aiming to do here is to clarify that if there is an intruder who comes into your home knowingly and unlawfully, the force that you use, that you decide in that split second to use to defend yourself and your family, is deemed reasonable. So that's the presumption.
Yeah, I understand your bill would presume force used against a home intruder is justified unless proven otherwise. Okay, in
That's right.
practical terms, how would that change what happens in court today?
So exactly. So now, because it creates that presumption, then the Crown would have to now uh, uh, collect evidence to show otherwise. So what would happen is presumably a number of cases will be thrown out earlier, and the homeowners will not have to bear the cost of the legal costs to defend themselves, right? Because there is a presumption, you acted in self-defense when there's an intruder inside of your home that was intending to cause harm, and that's the presumption there as well.
But Sandra, Justice Minister Sean Fraser says Canadians already have the right to use reasonable force to defend themselves. So, in your view, what's missing from the current law? Can you?
Yeah. So that's a great question, because the onus, though, right, is on the homeowner to prove reasonableness. So right now, with this bill, it is upfront, right? We are saying through this bill that we assume that it is reasonable, that the homeowner acts reasonably to defend themselves, as opposed to days, weeks, months later, the Crown, now removed from the whole situation, has to then go through an 8-part test to prove reasonableness from the homeowner, and then the homeowner then is dragged through this legal process. So with this bill, what we're saying is the presumption is now upfront. The homeowner is acting reasonably to protect themselves and their family.
And some people worry that expanding self-defense laws could escalate violence during break-ins. How do you respond to that concern?
So I would disagree with that, because right now we're essentially just protecting homeowners, and again, this is when this bill applies when someone has entered your home knowingly and unlawfully. So the crime is there, and then this is we're protecting the homeowners' self-defense rights. So it's not, if there is somebody's acting in punishment, or someone is acting in, it has alternative motives essentially to exert violence and force and things like that. Well, that would be proven in the court, and of course, there's the evidence would show that, and so the Crown would determine whether the force was unreasonable at that time, because the standards for the reasonableness, the test for reasonableness, is not changed. What the only thing that we're changing through this bill is the presumption that the homeowner at that moment was acting reasonably to protect themselves.
So, Sandra, would your proposal allow homeowners to use lethal force in a situation where the law currently would not?
So yes. So the it's all types of force, including lethal force. So it explicitly confirms that defensive force, including lethal force, is lawful when used against someone who has unlawfully entered your home.
And have you spoken with the MPs from other parties about supporting this bill?
Well, this bill was initially introduced, if you remember, back in August. It was discussed. It was actually quite popular, and we have been asking the government, so the Liberal government, to put forward some legislation and to put it forward in the fall to address this, because we are seeing the cases and this is happening, but we didn't see anything put forward, and so now we have put this bill forward, and we're asking members of Parliament from all parties to stand with Canadians and to support this bill C-270, so families can feel safe in their own homes.
Sandra, your party doesn't have a majority in Parliament, so the bill can't pass without support from other parties.
That's correct.
So,
Yep.
but a broader question about private members' bill is that opposition parties, just like not about your party, all parties, when they are in opposition, they introduce bills like this. So opposition parties often introduce legislation they know won't pass. So is the goal here to change the law or to push the political message about crime or self-defense?
Yeah, no, I mean, my intention with proposing a bill is always to protect families and to work for Canadians, not for show. And you're right in outlining that it is not easy for a private member's bill like mine, but I think it is a private member's bill that is long overdue, that Canadians would appreciate. It would send a message that we do, as a government, from all parties, have their best interest in mind. And so I think this is a very easy, common sense private members bill that all parties, members of Parliament from all parties, should get behind.
Thank you, Sandra, for speaking with us about your bill and about this very important issue. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the time. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.